Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us and welcome back to our CES 2022 coverage. Joining us here on the program today in just a moment, we have a great company called Kinoo. And if you have a kid, you are probably aware of who they are. But if you aren't, then hey, this is going to be a fun segment where we talk all about, keeping connected in these weird times, and of course getting kids learning. And, just, hey, making sure that life goes on even during a pandemic with the help of technology. There's a lot to it here, and I can't think of anyone better to explain this to us than two reps from the company. And let's see. So first things first, though, computeramerica.com. We'll have a link to Kinoo.com if you want to check them out, KINOO.com, or head on over to our site, and we'll have a link right there on the homepage, as this airs. So let's see. So while you're there, check out everything else, social media, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and just jump right into our interview. So joining us today is Jim Marggraff and Michelle Hodgson. They are the CEO, and of course, Michelle is the Business and People Operations Manager. They're both joining me today and to talk all about Kinoo and what they do. So both of you, welcome onto the program.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, and of course, my pleasure. I think a good way to kind of go, and I'll do my best to kind of pose questions to both of you, but we'll start with Jim. And Jim, if you want to give us a bit of the background, when was the company started, and what was the mission when you started Kinoo?
Sure, thanks. Be happy to. So this company actually grew out of work that I had done years ago when I was at Leapfrog. I was a co-founder of Leapfrog. For people that are familiar with Leapfrog, it made learning products for children. And I invented the Leapfrog Leappad. For those that are familiar with that, which was an interactive platform for books and teaching kids to read. And we helped over 100 million families in the US. And within a few years, it was in 77% of households. So if you grew up and had kids in the 2000s, you probably know Leapfrog and still made today. Mm-hmm. So this grew out of a need that we saw more recently when we said, gee, if you have a child, say 2 to 7 years of age, and you are a grandparent that's remote, or you'd like to be in touch with that child and due to COVID, you can't get close to them, or you're a traveling parent or an aunt or uncle or family friend, but you want to be close to that child. You have some options. And the challenge is the options aren't really good because you can do today, people are comfortable with Zoom and with video chat. The challenge is when you get on a Zoom with a 4-year-old, the call goes something like this. Hey, Johnny, how are you? Good. What are you up to? Nothing. And Johnny runs off. And mom runs off with her phone, holding it, trying to keep Johnny in frame so that grandma can see Johnny, who wants to talk to Johnny desperately, but Johnny's just not interested. Mm-hmm. And so we call it the Johnny problem for sure. And it's a huge issue for people that can't get closer, or again, traveling parents and others. So how do you solve this problem? Well, one approach could be simply to take a game and put it into the video chat. And that's been done by some companies. What happens, though, is when you do that, you put checkers or tic-tac-toe or some games there, and the children and the adult will play for a little while, and they'll play a little bit, but it's not really a connection. It's nice to be able to play something or draw together, but what they're missing is what would happen when you were in person. Because when you're a person, a couple of things, you're close, you touch, you snuggle, but also you see each other's eyes, and there's something else that occurs. But let's go one step beyond that. There's another problem, which is, as an older adult, a grandparent, by the way, the average age of first-time grandparent in the US is 50. So grandparents aren't, we think of some people think of grandparents as older, but in their 50s to 65 as where they'd have kids 2 to 7. And the challenge, though, is they don't always know how to talk to them and what to talk about. So even if you're playing a game, trying to have a bonding experience where you're doing something fun, where the child can't wait to get back and say, I want to Canoe, or I want to play with Grammy or Grampy or mom or dad when they're traveling. So how to solve this? So that's the problem. Any thoughts, Ben? What would you do?
Yeah, and of course we're going to get into kind of the system behind it. I had a kind of a question for Michelle as well. Much to Jim's background with Leapfrog and early childhood education, it seems to be where a lot of technology is kind of focused, is bringing kids, bringing their grades up, getting them reading, of course simple math, things like that. But with your time at the company, how has it been to still engage kids, because that's fundamentally that's a lot of technology, but how's it been for you to not only engage kids but engage parents as well, parents and grandparents?
It has been wonderful to hear some of the stories from our users. Parents want their kids to have a relationship with their parents, and Canoe gives them an opportunity to have visits in between those in-person visits. So sure, you might see each other on Christmas or maybe birthdays, but you could go months, and young children between the ages of 2 and 7 change a lot in those times. So Canoe is really helping them get to see the children grow and develop and actually have a role in changing in that development. So that's been really fun. And then also from the grandparent side, we have grandparents who are bringing out a side of themselves that they haven't had in a long time since their kids were little. So they're playing and they're being imaginative, and it's just making them more healthy and engaged with their grandkids. So that's been really fun.
That's right.
Really Go ahead.
Yeah, Ben, it's incredible because a grandparent, my kids are now 27 and 29, so I'm on the cusp. Mm-hmm. And but lots of friends with young grandkids. And when a grandchild is born, that grandparent wants to be close and wants to be part of the life of that grandchild, wants to have fun with them. They also want to have a purpose because they want to be able to share their life's learning and their joys and memories, and they want to be part of that child's lives. And the parents want that too. The challenge is, how do you really make that happen? Playing games is one thing, but giving them insight into what to do and how to play, but creating an experience where the child laughs and giggles and then learns and queries the grandparent and says to their parent, Mommy, when can I canoe with Grammy or Grampy? And we have those stories that abound. And it's self-serving, but when you hear why and what we've done to make it happen, we'll tell you.
Yeah, and just here in a moment, we're going to go ahead and do kind of the demonstration, so people who are watching can see as well. But we'll be sure to kind of talk about it as well. But before we get to that, obviously, you have seen the progression of technology, kind of come up from the mid 2000s, early 2000s, and into today. I'm seeing a lot of wording on your site like AR, augmented reality games, and of course, these things are full blown tablets. Like these are, these don't look like kids' toys. They look like something that any professional would use and, be able to, get the most out of. How has technology helped you in this mission with Canoe?
Well, it fundamentally enabled the whole idea. So we looked at this and said, gee, video chat is one thing, but how could we create, and I'll use the technology first, but then make sure that everyone understands it's simple and the technology is embedded. It's not about tech. The experience. So how could we create, we said originally, an AI social agent, something that could facilitate an exchange between two people. So that's where it started. And then we said, gee, if you've got this exchange going during video chat, we want to give the child agency, want to give them a means to be able to feel like they're in the same room with the grandparent, and the grandparent to be able to participate with the child in a way that's really co-play, a new form of play where they're both doing something together. And it goes beyond just fingers on a screen. So we said, the child loves to be active. And they just, it's one thing they can move their finger on the screen and draw with a grandparent. We created a wand, a Canoe Wand. It's an AR device that the child can hold in their hand. The grandparents still use their finger remotely. The child holds this, and as they move it around, it becomes something else on the screen when they're playing with a grandparent. So for instance, they decide to bake cookies together, and the Canoe Wand on the screen becomes some sugar, and they pour sugar, or a knife and they slice butter, or they crack eggs, or a whisk and they whisk batter together. And then they put the cookies in the oven. And the grandparent is moving the ingredients there, and the child is slicing and dicing and whisking and cutting. Or they're playing a fishing game and the child has the wand in their hand and it turns into a fishing pole and they pull it back and cast it forward and a line drops in the water and the grandparent sees it and the child moves the line with their hand, back and forth because they love the physical activity. And the grandparent then puts a fish on the hook and the child barely sees it. And then the child pulls it out and reels it in and has a delight, a surprise and jokes and fun. And the grandparent is part of it and deciding how to facilitate it. And then they talk together about what they've done.
I understand. So there's a bit of a misunderstanding on my part. So Kinoo is actually the wand element itself with apps on iOS devices and I'm sure Android as well. And this wand allows kids to have something and actually have something physical to engage them, because I'm sure kids, as much as they love screens, and trust me, they love they take right to tablets and phones and things like that, but they also like having that tactile functionality, and I'm sure that really helps with playtime as well. Okay, so we're going to get to the demonstration in just 1 second, but I'm sure that a lot of parents out there or grandparents are thinking about this. Up on the screen we can see there's a one-time fee with a 1-year free trial, and then you can go from there. But this might be a better question for Michelle when it comes to the monetization. A lot of apps, let's face it, they do in-app purchases. It looks like you're shying away from that for, I would assume, obvious reasons. Talk about how much this will cost and why you went with this model.
Our model is subscription based. Right now, we are doing our $49 for unlimited subscription. So that's as much time as you want using Kinoo. And that also includes our wand. This is because we just launched, so we're early and we want to get the word out there. Normal price would be about $10 a month for the subscription, and the wand is $79. So it's a great intro deal.
Right.
Gotcha.
So that $49, to be clear, that gets the wand and a year's worth of use of this, which normally would be $10 a month and normally $79 for a wand. So it's a really early adopter price to allow people to experience something that's hard to explain, because it's an iOS app and it's on a tablet or phone, but there's this other device. And people, when they first hear about it, just like the LeapPad many years ago, they scratch their head and go, what is that exactly? But when they see it and they see the response from the child and they realize, oh, it's just an app, and the child has this additional, like a Wii controller that they use, then they get it. Then people understand it.
Right. Yeah. No. And of course, seeing the video and seeing the demonstration we'll have in just a moment will certainly help with that. I guess I should also ask, what would you recommend kind of age of use of this? Is this, 6 to 60? Like what is the age range?
On the child side, it's we said 3 to 7. But we get a lot of families that are using this with their 2-year-olds that the grandparent wants to see them, and they hold the 2-year-old, or the 2-year-old is already learning how to use the screen and they're into it already. So it's really, it's 2 to 7. We also have older siblings that want to play with a wand because they love doing things with this that are magical. But that's our core range is 3 to 7 and plus or minus.
Perfect.
And adults, any age, of course. Yeah.
Right. And of course, any age as well. But I think now would be a great time, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to go ahead and change some stuff here. So let's see, we're going to go to this real quick. I'm going to stop sharing. And if you'd like to go ahead and do a demonstration, I can pull that up.
Okay. Here, I'm going to put on the screen a picture of a tablet. And right now, what I'm sharing is a tablet that has our video chat running. But
real quick. I had that on the wrong screen. Real quick. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to go ahead and pull over to here. And perfect. All right, you're good. Go for it.
Can you see it? It's there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So what we have is Michelle is in her home in Nevada, and I'm here in my home in California. And we have a video session in our app that comes up. So instead of FaceTime, this is beyond FaceTime. And on iOS device. And you'll see there's a couple things. To facilitate this exchange, we also introduce a character and multiple characters. So there's a character sitting on our screen. You can see him down. That's Cody. And Cody guides people on what to do and how to do it and makes nudges and suggestions. So let's kick off and we'll launch a menu. And Cody throws a ball. And okay.
Let's get it ready.
And he suggests, get your wand ready. So Michelle's about to do that. She took her wand out and there we go. So she's got her wand ready, but some activities use it, some don't. We'll start with one that doesn't, but I'll show you some magic because that character facilitating the exchange so the adult isn't kind of left wondering what to do. We hold the hands for the adult, so it's real easy to do. So this is a pizza decorator activity where two people work together at the same time, and they put crazy things on a pizza. So
on the question mark tray to add a super secret topping to your pizza.
So on the screen is a tray of about 25 ingredients that we can slide back and forth with all types of things, mushrooms and pickles and cheeses and pepperonis and whipped cream and candies and blueberries and sardines. So Michelle's putting cheese on right now, and she's covering.
Ooh, that looks good.
And there's Cody, who pops in and he makes comments, which the kids just adore. So
you know that Kinoo loves pickles?
So Cody suggested something. Michelle, you want to? There's Canoe. So Canoe popped on the screen.
Just
he
stole that
swiped
pickle
one of the pickles off the screen, which kids, again, surprises. But let's see. I'm going to put some things. We're both covering the pizza with things at the same time, so it's synchronized. We'll put pickles and blueberries. Oh, veggies. So how about broccoli? Put some broccoli on. He likes that. So I'm going to clear the pizza and leave a broccoli, but now I'm going to play with my whipped cream and draw something. So Michelle,
whipped cream over here, will ya?
Well, let's feed some to Cody. Let's bring it over. And I gave Cody some.
That's really cute.
Cody likes that. So I'm going to, again, this time, Michelle, I'm drawing a letter. What letter is that?
That's the letter M.
Why do you know that letter?
That's what my name starts with.
You bet. And we'll go down to the end where there's surprise ingredients. And looks like some beans and some shrimp and other. So we could keep going. What I can tell you is kids love the discovery. They love clearing. There's patterns creation and there's good exchange. But let's move on. So we'll leave this app, activity. It's all within the same app, these activities. Here's another where now we're going to use video in an interesting way and show you how we also help the adult know what to say. So this one is a moon rocket, and we'll keep this to about 30 seconds. We'll just show you the start of it. But what's fun about this is we're using video, and on the screen.
Let's go on an adventure.
That's Cody.
We'll start by taking pictures for your space passport.
So on the screen is a rocket on a rocket stand.
First, put your heads into the window frames.
Perfectly
and we
framed.
have to
smile. And
so we smile.
With the green camera. Do you like it?
So we'll
if
keep.
Next, make a silly face.
And we'll put a silly face here, and we'll do 3 faces.
Perfect.
And a third one.
Make an open mouth surprise face, like this.
It's really
those
cute.
faces are going to be used in the rocket ride going off to the moon. So
here are your passports. You're ready to go.
each of our screens shows a different thing. Now, one thing to point out, Ben, in the upper left of the adult screen, there's a flashing light bulb, and if I touch it, it's an idea, and it says, it gives me an idea. Speculate. Has anyone in your family been to the moon before? So these are prompts that I can pull as an adult if I want ideas to talk about with my child or my loved one. Another example would be, this is a quote to say to Michelle. Have you looked out of an airplane window ever, Michelle? What did you see when you looked out of an airplane window? So the idea is they're contextual discussion starters between us. And so it keeps always something interesting. But if we proceed, we'll just start and we'll blast off to the moon, and then we'll get to the moon, do a moon dance and stop. So here we go. At this point, we have to do set some dials. So we each have to touch. We're learning colors and now numbers. So we do a countdown.
8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
And now the rocket is blasting off on its side. Michelle and I are in the rocket in our video windows, and it's turning. And now we can see the moon in a distance. And there's a prompt. And on our way here, we have ideas and things to talk about. And things happen along the way, too. You never know what you might encounter. So in this case, let's see. How do you feel when you're high up in space? How do you feel about climbing high? But as we get closer to the moon, an alien flies by. And our faces are surprised in the window. And in a few seconds we land. And we have variable things that come by. So it's always fresh and keeping surprises for the child.
I like that.
We'll get to the moon, start a moon dance, and then we'll wrap. So now we're on the moon in our spacesuits. And we're jumping around. And of course, space is so hot. But we now get to do a dance. And we each control ourselves at the same time. I can do side swipes. My head moves back and forth. I can float in space. We jump. We can lean into each other. But we're controlling this together and watching each other smile in our spacesuits with the Earth in the background and the stars in the background and a beautiful, high-quality image of the moon that's not cartoon-like. And when this wraps, we'll take a photo and we'll send it home and we'll continue on. But I do want to get to one more activity that involves our blonde, so you can see this in action. So here we go. Let's see. So this one, let's go to one thing grandparents love, grandma especially, love baking cookies with grandkids. So this is a cookie maker, and we'll kick it off. And so right now, Michelle is just orienting her Casey. It says, hold it, turn a button. And now we work together to make cookies. Here's Cody.
Let's make cookies. Cookies need sugar and butter and chocolate and more.
By the way, Cody's about an inch high on the screen, and he looks like a little critter with antenna coming out. He's orange and he's smiley, and kids love him. He's a little cartoon character. Here we go. So now the shelf fills up with ingredients: sugar, butter, vanilla, and eggs. And I'm the adult, and I say, Michelle, what do you want to put in first? Sugar? Okay. So I drag the sugar over, and then Michelle takes her wand and she pours the sugar into the cup.
That's really cool.
And she has to put in, we told us, she has to put 2 cups in. So the lights on the Casey are flashing and sound is coming out of it in her hand when she's doing this. And now Michelle, how about some butter? So now she has to slice, and now she's slicing the butter with her hand up and down. And put another stick of butter in there. And she'll slice that one up, and we could continue. She can then do some butter, some vanilla, some eggs, and crack them. Why don't we go ahead and crack an egg? She has to crack that one and pour some vanilla in. And by the way, the ingredients continue. There's about 8 different ingredients. Then she stirs up the batter and puts it in the oven, and then they come out, and the two get to munch them and feed each other. So that's the use of a wand. And now she stirs it. You can see the batter stirring. And a prompt comes up. It says, we have to combine all the ingredients together really well. That's the first step. So many adults know what they want to say, but some others want to get some ideas.
Right.
So that's an example we'll pull out of that. And I don't know if we have time, but the fishing one is so fun because you get to cast the fishing line in the rod in the water.
If both of you have time, then I'd love to see the fishing app.
Okay, let's do it. So I'll pull the fishing app up. Let's see. And so we go through our menu. There's dot to dot, and there's pumping and fishing.
So
and
real quick, is it only the adult that gets to choose the activity, or can the kid choose the activity as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The child chooses, the adult chooses. And the thing about this system is you both are interacting at the same time, and it all stays synchronized. So here we go. We'll kick the fishing game off. So can you describe, Ben? So on the screen is I see. I see the shell full screen. My little window's up in the corner.
If you wouldn't mind, I can definitely give it a go. So, of course, you see Jim and Michelle on the screen, and there's about halfway up, there's a water line. There's, of course, the boat with a little character on it, and you have everything from clownfish to what I assume to be a tuna. I don't think it's a shark, but yeah, a lot of different wildlife, and and of course, the hook and the bobber are just above the water line. It looks like, hey, she just threw the canoe controller, and it cast the line, and then there you go.
Go ahead.
No, please go ahead. And just caught a clownfish. Good job.
And what fish should I put on this time?
I really, well, let's see. You have sawfish. I don't know. What is the biggest fish you got? Well, I think I just found out.
We got a shark coming.
Here's a big shark. Oh, we got the crying fish on there. Go ahead.
Oh no.
Reel that one in. Uh-oh, he looks sad.
Sad fish.
Oh, he's crying on he's pushed it up and he's dripping eyes, but watch what happens. We can't leave him cry.
No.
Another fish hops out, gives him a big kiss, and now he's happy. A starfish floats by. How about this guy? Okay, and Michelle moves the hook around and she sees the fish very vaguely, but I move them. And so we have to work together. So there's collaboration.
Oh.
There's the starfish.
So each fish has their own. That's cool.
Each have their own gag. And then, by the way, did you see the little piece of garbage float by?
Yeah.
we're teaching environment and sustainability. So I'm going to hook this piece of, looks like an old plastic bag.
You found some garbage. I'll take that.
And a prompt comes up and says, take this opportunity to talk to Michelle about pollution. Why do people throw trash? Michelle, why do you think people put trash in the sea?
They don't know how to put it in the garbage can.
So point is, as a company, we're committed to, I'll pop out of this activity right now. But I can say what happens is, typically we've been measuring calls, and before using our Canoe system, typically video calls are about up to 3 to 5 minutes is the maximum that a child will be able to stay on. It's typically like 2 minutes, but sometimes longer.
Mm-hmm.
For this system, the average is about half an hour. And what happens is they want more calls. So the grandparent or the older adult, what we call the older loved one, their life changes. And they find that they start getting or developing a relationship that's closer, because it's not just playing, but it's talking. And it's sharing experiences, creating memories, and laughing together and having fun. And this company is all about families and bring us closer together.
That is a very powerful mission, and really it looks like you have an amazing product to get that done. Some things off the top of my head, like obviously a 2 to 4 year old would not have full-time access to a smartphone or a tablet, but if they were to pick up the tablet, let's say the parents give the kid a tablet, can they send messages to their parent or their grandparent and say, I would like to play a game? Like, can you send notifications through this, or is it simply the two connect and, yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, at young ages, of course, they're not typing yet. So they're still learning how to connect. We have soon coming, we call family grams, where
Sure.
someone the child can log in and be able to create a message, and that's coming soon. So they'll be able to share something that's not real time. What we find is it's about that real time together that they have.
Got you. I completely understand.
We're driving for getting, but it is easy to set up a call. Literally, kids know how to touch the app. The app comes up, and the interface to just select grandma or grandpa, they touch call, and the call is made. So it's just a couple taps, and they're connected.
Perfect. And I guess the last, question I should ask about this, because people are always very safe with their kids and make sure that, they're not talking to anyone that they shouldn't be talking to. How hard is it to form a connection on Canoe? Is it through contacts only? Is it through like some kind of invite system that the parent would have to set up first? How do you make sure that only the people you want connecting to your kid can?
Great question. It starts with, basically a subscriber subscribes, and it's their network. They can invite as many friends and family, as many adults as they want into that network, and they specify the children in their home, and they then allow those people to connect. So it's a very controlled system. There's no advertising in this. There's no promotion of in-app purchases. We don't want to do that to kids. We think that's wrong. And the adults can choose what they want, but we're not thrusting things on the kids, and it's very, very protected. So we're counting on the word of mouth of parents and grandparents to share this with their friends, but we're not doing that, and we're not pushing this out. It's up to them as they choose.
Right, and I feel like the controlled nature of that, where it's not like, so and so wants to become Canoe friends with your kid, and you're like, I've never seen this email address before in my life. That doesn't seem to be happening, because you of course send out the invites.
The guardian, and then the people that they allow to invite are the ones that can invite friends and family in and give them access. But it's all set up by it starts there with the
Perfect. Parent. And I'm looking through your site. There's a lot of great information. Everyone, once again, Kinoo, KINOO.com. I'll leave this both to you, Jim and Michelle. Are there any points that we didn't touch on or talk about? Because this interview has already gone a little long, but it's been great. So, final thoughts?
Thanks. Yeah, I'll give one story. When people tell us that, for instance, a grandmother told us that she saw a new behavior within her husband, that she saw a new side of him, a playfulness that emerged, and when he was playing with the grandchild, and the grandchild had never seen this side of the grandparent before. When we do that, we feel really good, because we know we're shifting their lives, and our whole goal with our prompts is to get high quality discussions going. issues around environment, sustainability, social emotional learning, in addition to basic learning and giving the tools for numbers and letters and sounds and colors. That's there as well. That will keep developing. But the starting point here is about that connectedness, and it's about connecting, playing, and learning, those three things. And Michelle, I'm sure you got it.
Something that I would say is that COVID has been so hard on families. Grandparents especially can't be with the people that they love. And we had a story from a user who said that Kinoo saved Christmas for them because the grandchild tested positive for COVID, and they've been given Kinoo for Christmas, and they got to connect and play all day. And so that just was really great to hear, because that is what we have come here to do.
Yep.
That's really that's definitely great to hear. And something that I've picked up from both of you throughout the course of this interview is that often what we see with a lot of people in tech when they have products for kids is that they're passionate about, of course, letting kids have fun and things like that, but it's also about engaging and then of course growing them, educating them, and that kind of thing. And both of you seem very passionate about your mission, not just your product but your mission, and that's really shown through. So thank you both for joining me and talking about this. This is definitely a product that I never thought about bringing a third-party hardware system into tablets, because I think a lot of people think about smartphones or tablets as an all-in-one, all-inclusive kind of thing. But let's face it, we have to let kids be kids, and we have to give them something to, feel and play and swing and do and, really just have fun with. And you have an amazing product for that. So everyone, once again, we've been talking to Jim and Michelle, and both of you, thank you for taking the time. I know it's been a long CES, and thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you again.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good one. And everyone, be sure to stay tuned. More CES 2022 coverage, computeramerica.com. Everyone, have a great one. Thank you.